You have long more doing it? Just 3 more?
I'm doing the OPC now to be a solicitor, so a year of that.
Near.
Oh.
He's come a long way.
And then in a year I'll be a lawyer.
And many of you will know him as well because he's Hamish, and he does the website for us.
I've done much in a while.
Your beard, hide your face.
I shaved a little bit today.
He also used to do all the photos for us and the videos, but because he's moved so far away, it's more difficult. But this is Hamish, and he's done a course in Ayurvedic medicine. Now, I'm really interested because these days, passing a certain age, I've got so much aches and pains. And if he can help me with anything, I'll be so grateful. So I'm going to put it over to Hamish. Maybe he'll be able to help us all in some way or another.
Okay, thanks. Thank you, Aunt Joyce, anyway, for organising this as well, because it's hard to try and get this going in the way. And thanks for the Sanatan Cultural Society.
Yes. Let's get the mic.
No,
Yes.
I don't think that's all. I can't hear from you.
Sure. It sounds like not that many of us. Are you sure?
When you ask first, they want to.
They
Can
want,
you all
yeah. You don't need it?
No, I think we're okay.
Yeah. You're okay?
I mean, do stop me and ask me anything if obviously not coming across. Anyway, thanks again for this and obviously the use of the Sanatan Cultural Society Monday. I'll begin the talk about Ayurveda, where it's come from, what it's about, obviously how it can help
You know what? I think you do need a mic. Farah, can you do it? Good. I don't know about my hearing is going as well as everything else. Mine is hard.
Joyce, when you get to my age,
Om Shanti Shanti.
what that bit is.
Oh, it's upside down, isn't it?
Singers.
It'll help.
Yeah.
You don't have to hold it. It's gone.
or not.
No, it's that thing at the bottom. You got to raise the pole up. The bottom one, it's that one, and raise the middle pole up. Raise the pole up, the middle pole. That's it. That's it. Tight.
Technology.
Can you hear me better?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, well, so we'll start. It's a bit intimidating. We'll start with the what Ayurveda is about, and we'll kind of look at how that can help you guys in daily life and how you can improve, obviously, your well-being. Obviously, we're in a Sanatan Cultural Society here, and you guys know a lot, I'm sure, of Sanatan Dharma, what we believe in, the eternal truth. Ayurveda itself is part of that, is part of our scriptures. It's going way back to the Rig Veda and the Atharva Veda. It's actually called an Upaveda, which is a small portion dedicated to a certain science or whatever it might be. So in this case, it's a healthcare system that has been around by historian dating about 5,000 years. As we know, our texts go way beyond space, time, it's eternal texts. So even the Ayurveda, it's like that, treat it the same, with the same respect, obviously, that we treat our scriptures. You can see a lot of reference actually with Ayurveda in some of the texts that you guys read, or as Hindus we all read. Like the Ramayana, you see the story of Hanumanji when he flies across to get the Sanjeevan for Lakshmanji. he brings this plant, and this is what Ayurveda is about. You know, it's using the natural plants that we find on the earth, and we treat patients. In this case, Hanumanji went over in Lanka and found a doctor, an Ayurvedic doctor, an Ayurvedic physician, to help treat Lakshman at the time, and that's what they used. You know, they used the Sanjeevan plant. Even in India today, they're actually searching for this plant as we speak. You know, for the last 2 years, actually, 2 or 3 years, they've been searching the Himalayas for this plant. They haven't actually found it, but they found something similar to that with similar properties. You know, I think it says in the Ramayana that the plant was glowing when Hanuman brought it back. Go and find the glowing plant, something like that, something along those lines. So they haven't found the one that actually glows in the dark, but they found something pretty close. For you guys, Ayurveda and how it actually works for us, again, back to Sanatana Dharma a bit. We believe in the 5 elements. I'm sure you guys know what they are: the earth, fire, water, ether, and air. And as you probably know, the whole universe is made up of these 5 elements. The planet, you know, everything that we see, either one or all of them, or a few of them, whatever it might be. But you have the 5 elements that runs like as obviously these elements throughout things. These elements are also found in your body, so we have all 5 elements. And what determines how Ayurveda science works is we look at these 5 elements and see, in effect, what you are. So what are the balance of the 5 elements in each one of your bodies? They're all different, obviously. It's determined by the time of conception, when you're conceived, and there's various factors that will influence what you're going to be, you know, your dosha, in effect. These 5 elements at that time are determined by your parents' own balance of the 5 elements. So whatever your dad and mum might have been, that's what would come down to you guys. Plus also their own genes, obviously genetics will come down through. Also their frame of mind. It could be the food they ate that day, you know, the sun, if it was winter or if it was summer. It all depends on all of these factors that determines what balance of the 5 elements are in you, each one of us. And that state is called your prakriti. In Sanskrit, that's actually translates as nature, but in terms of the body, it's your natural state, your natural birth state of the 5 elements. Like I said, these 5 elements actually form a thing called a dosha. I don't know how much you guys know about this, but a dosha is, we say these 5 elements have different levels, and predominantly we can categorize them within 7 doshas. The 7 doshas are, the first 3 are the main 3, Vata, Pitta and Kapha, and then there's combinations of these 3. Does anybody here heard of the doshas at all? Probably not. Okay, so it's really foreign to you then, what I'm talking about really. So these doshas are like body constitutions. So we say, this person, I'm not going to say yours or anything, but like this person is maybe a Vata, this is a Pitta, and this is a Kapha. We would say these are these 3 people. And then there's variations. So you can have a Vata Pitta or a Vata Kapha, or a Kapha Pitta, or all 3. Typically, most people are 1 or 2 of the doshas. Now that's not to say that there isn't the other 5 elements involved. So if I go back a step, a Vata dosha is primarily the air and ether elements of the 5 elements, if that makes sense. So those are your main 2 elements in your body type. Kapha would be earth and water, would be your main 2 elements. And Pitta would be fire and water.
Does that mean fire is a fiery person?
Yeah, definitely, for sure. It really does have those characteristics. There's a lot of things you'll know from back home in Guyana and things where you'll say things and you probably don't know the meaning, how it relates to Ayurveda or even, you know, the text that we read, the scriptures. So for sure, there's so much meaning that we say and we don't even know. But the doshas again, so these 3 doshas, you could be one of them, all 3 of them, or a combination of 2 of them. And at that time, so you're born, you have your prakriti, like I said, your natural state, and let's say you're a Vata dosha, so this baby is now a Vata dosha. Throughout life, this will change, this level of these elements, mainly because it's unavoidable. You know, you are going to change your elements based on the environment, the food you eat, the way you think, the jobs you have, you know, whatever's happened, you know, your experiences in life will alter these 5 elements to whatever degree. So it's unavoidable, and obviously the longer you live, the more they'll be influenced by the external environment, the Maya, whatever you want to call it. This is what will change your body's 5 elements. When it's imbalanced, it's because of these elements are all over the place in effect. So you're no longer, in the case of this Vata baby, this baby's now grown up into an old man or a mid-aged man, and it's no longer primarily air and ether. It's now, it could be fire and water are the primary 2 elements in this person. So in this case, we would say this person's imbalanced. And the job of and this imbalanced state is called a vikruti. So it just means the imbalanced state. And at this job, as a consultant, what we would do is try and get your balance back down to your normal state, your prakriti. We do this by multiple things, but mainly through diet, through nutrition, because foods have these qualities in them, the 5 elements. So I mean, it's pretty obvious. A person with fire, it's probably not wise to eat a lot of chili, because you're probably going to get even more hot. So we'd try and reduce that in a pitta person, things like chili or acidic foods like oranges and pineapple and things, we reduce them. So in our consultations, that's what we work on. We work on the diet. Obviously, we have natural herbs with no side effects that we obviously have in drugs in the West. And we will reduce them, not to your prakriti stage. It's impossible to get right back to that stage. Pretty much because even breathing changes your elements, and obviously we all need to breathe, so we can't avoid some imbalance. But obviously the less imbalance, the more you're towards this prakriti end, the less disease will form. When you're in the other end, disease comes. Because your immunity is weak. It's as simple as that in Western science. Even if your immunity is weak, then you're going to get disease. That simple. So it's the same here, but what we look for, differing from the West, is we look for the cause of the problem as well. For the West, I mean, I work in Western nutrition, actually, in the Western pharmacy. That's actually my other job for 20 years. So that's actually what I do. So I've got a wealth of experience in the Western side of treating people. But on this side, it's just another level to treating the human body and the mind. So what we do is, like I said, we try and get this state back to prakriti by the diet. Also the mind, because in Ayurveda we believe 90% of disease stems from the mind itself. And then it takes the form of whatever disease in the body. So a big portion of Ayurveda in the consultations we do is to try and talk to you, see how you're going, how you're coping with things. It's a lot to do with the mind, especially obviously if you've got a problem. If someone comes in with no problems, there's probably no point you coming to see me. But we will talk to people with ailments, disorders that they can physically see, disorders or feel, and then we'll treat also the inner mind and try and help you that way too. So through diet, through lifestyle, like I'll give you a good example. Auntie Joyce did mention arthritis is a good topic to talk about, so I'll work on that one. Arthritis in the Ayurvedic sense is under 2 doshas. So we would say osteoarthritis is under the Vata dosha, and rheumatoid arthritis is under the Pitta dosha. And this is because, like I said, the elements, we go back to the elements. The 2 elements in Vata are air and ether, which, as we all know, if wind, air, or a hairdryer, for example, it dries things. The air will dry something. And what it does, if you've got arthritis and you've got, let's take the knee, so you've got synovial fluid around your knee, it will dry it. It will dry the fluid if you've got a Vata imbalance, and it will dry that fluid, and the bones will rub together, and that's where osteoarthritis will pretty much come from. So how we'll treat that, we'll reduce the earth, ether and air elements that you do in your daily lives, whether by lifestyle, whether by diet, the way you think. They're all connected to these elements in a way, and we'll reduce those elements so you'll see improvement in your arthritis. Rheumatoid arthritis is a Pitta disorder because of the inflammation. You can see the inflammation around the knee, and it's the heat. The heat's coming through, so the fire element's really strong in rheumatoid arthritis. What it does, again, the synovial fluid, it will turn it acidic, and it will burn, it will erode the bone itself, and that's where the rheumatoid arthritis comes to be. And again, we'll reduce the Pitta, high Pitta foods like chilies and pineapple. So probably not good for hair when you're cooking with chili and things, but that's a lifestyle choice you'd have to make if you've got these conditions, obviously. So like I said, what I'm qualified to do is actually the lifestyle, nutrition, herbal stuff, oils, creams. I can obviously offer you those things and treat you mainly for lifestyle and nutrition and the mental aspect in consultations. Just to tell you about the way we work our clinic, and I've qualified around April time this year, and one of my colleagues on the course with me, we've set up a clinic, but we're not doing it a typical way that a business would run this, I guess, where you charge people, because it can go on. You know, we're talking consultations could be every 3 to 4 weeks for maybe 6 months. It could last, but we're not looking at it as a business venture. So just so you guys know, if you're interested in this, we do this like on a donation basis more, just whatever people can afford or whatever it is. Right, because to be honest, we want to help people, and that's the way we look at this, that we want to see if you're interested, then we'll find a way to make this work. So don't worry, it could be costly for me or always. It's about your health, it's the most important thing, and we'll find a way to make it work for everyone if that's what you want to do. I just touched back to the mind. Like I said, 90% in Ayurveda stems from the mind. As much as I can help you in a consultation, like maybe don't think like that, don't do this, don't get so angry. Obviously, I can say those things quite easily, but it's very hard for you to do in real life when situations arise. So what we should use is the scriptures at this point. You know, Sri Krishna Bhagwan in the Bhagavad Gita says there's 4 yogas. Obviously, I'm sure you all know, but one of the first 2 is Karma Yoga and Bhakti Yoga. And these 2 yogas in itself purifies the mind. You know, Karma Yoga, the service you do to the temple here or to your communities, for nothing in return really. That's the highest form of Karma Yoga, and that purifies the mind. And Bhakti Yoga, obviously devoting yourself to Bhagwan in whichever form you choose, surrendering every day, that purifies the mind again. And in an Ayurvedic sense, having a purified mind purifies the body. It's that simple, pretty much. The body itself is the gross body, as we say in all Indian philosophy, in Sanskrit, in everything you read, this is what it is. The body is the gross body, the mind is the subtle body, the deep sleep is the causal body, and beyond that is the jivan. It's the individual jiva, which reflects the Brahman jiva, the ultimate goal, whichever you call it, Krishna Bhagwan, Vishnu Bhagwan, Shiva Bhagwan, whatever name you call it, that is the ultimate Brahman. And that reflects onto your own jiva, you know. And through knowledge, through the Upanishads and the Ramayana and the Bhagavad Gita, you see these things, and that will purify your mind and help your body to stay strong. Because that's really only Ayurvedic's only purpose, is to serve the body so that us in human birth can find moksha, find liberation. So it's to keep all the ailments at bay, you know, as long as we can, so the mind is free, the body is free to go within, which we'll learn in meditation in a minute. You know, you go within and you'll find the true self. That is the whole point of why you're here. There's no other reason, to be honest. It's that simple. Life becomes difficult because we want it, you know, we do all these things in life and it becomes difficult. So Ayurveda will serve its purpose for the body and the mind, up to a point with the mind, but beyond that you need to turn back to your scriptures and learn what you can. I mean, Sri Ram said to, I'll paraphrase this, but he said to Hanumanji, if a person wants to find liberation, then read the Mandukya Upanishad. He said, it's the smallest Upanishad out of all 108 Upanishads. Really small, it's only a couple of paragraphs actually. But the essence of the Upanishads is to teach you this jnana yoga, this knowledge, and then Raj Yoga is the meditation, which we'll hear a lot about the chakras in a bit. But that's how it works. It's all connected. All our Sanatana Dhamma texts, they connect to help you find that true self. And that's what we all should strive and do, you know. But yes, from an Ayurvedic point of view, I can help with the body and part of the mind as much as I can. That's it for me. So any questions? Thanks.
Yeah. So you will have to, I have a problem. I come and discuss it with you, and you're going to help me with that problem.
Yes, sure.
Because every one of us are different.
100%. I mean, even if I say you're a Vata, and you're a Vata, for example, even those 5 elements, those earth and ether are, let's say, 30% and 30%. Or 30% between them. Yours might not be. Yours might be 28%, for example. So the others might be different. So even those herbs I give you might be slightly different between the two of you, because you're still individual in the way you'll react to some of the herbs and the diet. So we need this kind of regular consultation so you can keep telling me, well, actually, this is not working too well. Because I can't, just by looking at you or talking to you, know 100% what's going on inside. No doctor will be able to do that. So
Because that is what I was thinking, that I'm going to tell you what's wrong with me, and you're going to tell me what herbs, what to do,
Yeah.
what not to do.
that's right.
So it will be one-to-one.
One-to-one, yeah, we don't do it as a group, we do it as a one-to-one, and it's very private. It's a very private thing, like I said to
I
Aunt
was
Joyce.
hoping, from your discussion here,
Yeah.
I gather that is the way.
Mm.
But I was hoping that you would say, this herb is good for that, that herb
Yeah,
is good for
I mean,
that.
you can go online and you'll see a load of websites. And to be honest, how I started out was thinking along this way, you know. I started out in my current profession as Western nutrition, looking at alternative nutrition, Ayurveda, and where it changed for me was I saw clearly online they're selling herbs, and they'll tell you ashwagandha, for example, or triphala, or turmeric even. You hear loads about turmeric these days, everywhere. But it doesn't mean it's right for you in the way you're taking that.
Yes.
And that's the problem. You can go online and say, this is great, yes, I'll need that, but it's not right for you. So needing a consultation is so important. Hence I took this course, because I couldn't go and sell this knowingly that I could damage people, you know, online. That's not the way to do any business, obviously. So I took the course, and obviously it's not as rewarding financially, but it's not about that. It's about helping as many as you can. So we do a one-to-one consultation. And like I said, the follow-up is very important, because I need to see how it's working and whether we need to tweak the diet, tweak the herbs, and we treat that way. And I mean, ideally, we get to a point of in around 6 months, I'd say, because how it works, I mean, I won't go into too much detail, but it takes like cycles for things to pass through your body. So I at least need a month cycle, like the moon cycles in effect, to pass through your body.
I believe in herbal medicine, different herbs, and I always say at least 3 months you must try something.
Well, that's it. Ideally 3, but at least 1 is the minimum.
Just try
I
it for a
think.
day or two, and
Oh,
it's
it
a
can't.
miracle.
You know, the other difference is the herbs, obviously, Ayurvedically speaking, take a while. They work through, we call them tissues, but dhatus we call them, tissues in the body. And Western medicine is very different. You know, like I say, it attacks the symptoms.
Right away and finish
And finish
it
it.
comes back.
But as we know, you know, the best things in life don't come very quickly. You know, you work at them hard, and this is the same in this. You know, we don't expect improvement overnight. So as long as you can be strict with yourself and do these things, then you'll see the benefits.
But I've talked to people and they believe that in a week or overnight, when you tell them to use this regularly and see how it goes, just 1 or 2 times they expect miracle. I said, I try things and I give people my experience. I said, try it and see if it works for you, because as you said, what worked for me may not work for her.
That's right, yeah.
But you can try it and see.
Yeah.
That's the only way you can get
For sure.
results.
Yeah, it is. I mean, like Ayurveda in a way, it's not trial and error, but we, like I said, the consultations, we keep trying different methods if it isn't quite working. And then at the end of these 6 months, you'll come off the herbs. If it's, depends on the disorder, obviously, but you can more than likely come off these herbs. And you just live it through your diet then. Your food is enough to keep you well. So the whole point is to get you to this point, if you're imbalanced, get back to your diet, cook the right foods for your body type, and you should keep disease at bay as long as possible. I mean, we're all going to die. The body's going to die. There's no 2 ways about that. So it's going to do as well as it can for as long as it
Okay, thank you.
can. Okay? No problem.
You talk about different yogas. What is Kundalini yoga?
Sorry, which one?
Kundalini yoga.
Kundalini. Kundalini yoga. This is this,
Yes.
actually. This is what we're going to talk about, the chakras. So I'll leave that one.
Is that okay?
Yeah, it's perfect.
Can I introduce Aruni now? She's it's so nice to see these youngsters to take our philosophy a step further. You know, it really is brilliant.